Over the past weekend, Duncan and myself went over to Insomnia the Gaming Festival, which is the UK's largest gaming festival, which has been going for over 20 years and started as just a mere LAN party event. It was the ideal opportunity for us to mix with like-minded gamers, have that social interaction and understanding people's likes and hobbies, but more importantly, actually get some time to get some hands-on with games, look at some cool kit, and also spend some time talking to the devs. Now, as you'll see through the course of these clips here, we absolutely took that opportunity to the max, whether it be the Nicro deck or even sitting down with developers and getting hands-on with some games that have now been announced on Steam or that were announced on the day prior. We had an absolutely fantastic day, and we thought a great way to do something with this was going to be to bring a video that shows 5 games that we got our hands on that impressed us most from Insomnia Gaming Festival, so that you can head over to Steam and possibly keep your eye on them and may even pick 1 or 2 up along the way. We had an absolute stack of fun. Duncan nearly fell off a VR machine, we seen this really cool PC, and then we pitted our wits against this full speed challenge to test our reactions. Duncan, as I said, even got to meet his favourite YouTuber in Spiffing Brit, which was absolutely awesome. We're now going to head over and show you these 5 games that really impressed us at Insomnia Gaming Festival. First up on our list is a game that was originally announced on Friday last week, the day before we went to the show, so it was great to get a hands-on opportunity with it so early after its announcement, and that was Void Souls. It provides a vast twisting maze that stretches out ahead, steeped in shadow. Enemies lurk behind every corner, but you must fight to survive. If you die, you have no choice but to try again and again and again. In this Souls-like, with a difference, death is just a lesson in the geometric gloom. Explore a top-down world as a lowly triangle and take down powerful angular enemies and bosses as you venture through the minimalist surroundings full of secrets. On your quest to liberate a subjugated world, you will face off against sword-wielding grunts, tricksy arrow-flinging fiends, and brutal boss fights that will test your resolve. Now, for a Souls-like, this definitely does something a little bit different. Obviously, visually, it's different to things that you might expect from the Souls-like genre. However, there are things within there that we found really interesting when talking to the devs and the PR management. Obviously, one of those things that are in there with Souls-like, one of the challenges you get constantly faced by is the fact that the games are notoriously difficult. Now, with this one, you can make this game as simple or as complicated as you want. You've got the ability to go through and customise in those settings where you can deal more damage but then set yourself to take less damage, making it a little bit of an easier experience, or if you're absolutely off the wall crazy, then you can just turn everything up to max and literally deal as much damage and take as much damage as you can possibly handle. Following on from that, you also get the chance to refine your build quite clearly. Acquire souls by defeating enemies and roaming a rich world of hidden mysteries, and spend them on tailoring to your playstyle. Change your loadout and stats at bonfires whenever you can to adapt the challenges you'll face. Just don't forget to pick up your lost souls each time you're bested by a foe. Now, we were really impressed by the way that this played and performed, and it's a game that we actually recommended they reach out to GeForce Now because we felt that it was one that would be hugely popular. It was great fun, it was nice and responsive in the controls, and it certainly left us wanting to experience more of the game, which is great because not only is that come as a bit of a shock for myself, but equally Duncan, who really doesn't like Souls-like, was really keen on being able to pick this up and play it. Added to that, the PR and management and dev team were exceptionally friendly and made it an absolute breeze to sit and talk through the game and understand some elements of the things that they've been working on. Now, whilst this doesn't have a release date, it's definitely something we'd advise sticking a follow or adding to your wish list if it's something that's of interest to you. Next up is an FPS title that was visually appealing and exceptionally strong in its performance. It's a game that's already in early access and is seeing a major update around every 1 to 2 weeks since around about October time. We had the pleasure of talking through with the dev about the development process, and what was impressive was that he mentioned that he'd actually had some feedback on Friday regarding the game whilst he was there, and had actually managed to work on the Friday evening, putting some fixes into there, ready for the next day of the convention, which was great to see. And certainly from our experience, we had a very solid hands-on time with this game, and that was Scare Ritual. It's an intense round-based zombie horror shooter by indie developers at Wales Interactive. You can either play solo or on up to 4 players online, facing relentless waves of quiet ones, whilst solving mysterious missions, uncovering Easter eggs, upgrading steampunk weapons, and obtaining miracles. A vast network of Celtic god powers. In 1914, Elizabeth Williams has conquered Scare Island, now seeking domination with a broadcast of the Siren Song. Orion, when her daughter, has opposed her, and after being mysteriously awakened, you must join her mission to thwart the broadcast and save the world from descending into hell. Scare Ritual, whilst is not a direct sequel, but is an FPS spin-off from the award-winning British indie horror game made of Scare. It provides an old-school round-based FPS action, which we said was played solo or on 4 players, and it does actually continue the story from the Made of Scare evil ending. There are a multitude of optional objectives and hidden Easter eggs, and absolute supercharged elites with unique abilities. We have to say this was absolutely visually impressive, and it was something that we took away with us, even to the point that when we got home after the end of the convention, we installed it straight onto our Steam Deck, just about to give this a test. Now, something I would also say that's worth highlighting is if you are playing solo or if you are playing in co-op, the game automatically adjusts to the number of players, so then the waves and horde that you are set to face are dependent on those number of players that are in the game, which is a nice little feature. They've worked incredibly hard on this game, and it, as I say, it is in early access and is well worth picking up. It sits at the $19.99 price point, but if you do have other games from their franchise in the library, you may well pick up a discount, and there is also an ultimate bundle. There's an absolute multitude of Steam achievements, which is something which will go down exceptionally well with you achievement hunters. It's something that we would definitely recommend keeping tabs on because it very much impressed us, and I look forward to playing more of it. Now, if you're a fan of Monkey Island or Broken Sword and games of that point and click genre, then this next one is definitely for you, and that is Foolish Mortals. The mysteries of the 1930s Louisiana come alive as you uncover clues and solve puzzles in search of the lost treasure of Bellamore Manor, where 30 years ago an entire wedding suddenly and mysteriously vanished. The merry and macabre come together in this cozy, story-driven point-and-click adventure. We had the opportunity to spend a little bit of time with the developers of this title, and one thing that stood out from this, apart from the nostalgia in terms of the genre of the game, they are actually going to be putting up a pre-order for a physical boxed edition that looks like, the best way to explain it is if you can cast your mind back to those old school games that we had on PCs that came on CD-ROMs or even on floppies, where you had those big massive boxes. They actually had this on the stand where they were showing off the game, and it looks absolutely cool. So that's something that definitely added to our experience when we were checking this out. Now, there is a demo live on Steam for this, and no other release date other than 2024 for this title. Now, one thing we would say is, whilst our time with hands-on with this was slightly shorter due to the length of the intro, you could have skipped it, but we really wanted to actually just see and listen to the voice acting and the various elements as we went through it, and it's incredibly well voice acted. It looks nice and crisp and clean, and I do really enjoy the art style, which lends into that point and click adventure. So it's definitely something that's on our list. As I say, there is a demo there for you on Steam where you can go and try this out, and you can play the first little bit of the game. It is around about an hour to complete the demo that is available, but it's definitely something worth checking out, keeping tabs on, and maybe even adding onto that wish list for later in the year. Now, the next one has a real taste of retro to it, and that is Hex Racer. You get to race through the asteroid belt as fast as possible by flying your ship through checkpoints to increase your score using power-ups to help you along your way. Now this game actually features multiple game modes, so there was a monthly seed generated event leaderboard where you can get your highest score without missing a single checkpoint, and then you can pit your wits against other competitors to see how good you really are. There is of course an endless mode which is completely randomly generated, and you can get your highest score without missing a single checkpoint along the way. You can see the theme here. You can also take it and split it into a split screen and grab those controllers even, and you can race your friends and family in local split screen timed races. You also then have the story mode where you can progress through the map, unlocking new ships and skills to help in the races. Basically, fly as fast as you can through all of the right checkpoints and watch out for the checkpoints that deduct from your score. Now, a one-man dev team, this was absolutely fantastic, and it's a game again that we came away from the convention with really lasting impression. It's a game that we bought as we actually picked it up on a 50% promotion that was on during the duration of Insomnia Gaming Festival. However, it is normally reasonably priced at just £4.29. Now, it does show that it's not rated for deck, but we can tell you that after testing it, it works 100%, so whether you want to play it on PC or on your Steam Deck, and I have to say it is the perfect game for deck and well worth you checking out. Now, the fifth and final game is a game that we managed to snag by completing some challenges during Insomnia, which was great. It's also published by Modern Wolf, who are the same publishers for one of our earlier games, which was Void Souls, which was the Souls-like game that we highlighted. Now, Zero Ziva is a tense top-down extraction shooter that challenges you to scavenge and procedurally generated wasteland, loot gear and explore what's left of a devastated world. When the odds are stacked against you, you'll need to do more than just survive. Now this game on Steam sits in the £16 bracket, where in Zero Ziva the world has ended. It charges you with scavenging equipment across multiple areas, all set in atmospheric, fictitious, post-apocalyptic Eastern Europe setting. Your base of operations, the bunker, is filled with traders, modding stations and areas to make your own, providing you with progression across your excursions into the wild. Once you're out in the wilds or the wastelands, however, the situation becomes a lot less secure. Across the 5 biomes of the game, you'll initially be armed with little more than a gun and a bottle of water. After which point it's up to you to recover items, take out bandits and most importantly, get back alive. And be warned, the nuclear fallout may have impacted some of the local wildlife. This pixel-based top-down extraction shooter actually generated a lot of fun. It's something that's worthwhile adding. At the moment it is only mouse and keyboard that we found, so if it's a game that you're going to play, it's definitely one that you're going to be playing on your PC, not on a Steam Deck or anything similar. Nevertheless, we enjoyed some of the time with this. It is still obviously going through its development process, which naturally puts it in that bracket as an early access game, so there's still work to be done, but overall the initial reception has been very positive and we definitely enjoyed some of the limited time that we had with this game to get hands on with it. It does show up on Steam as being playable on Steam Deck, but so far we've not found it the best experience, and as I said earlier, I'd absolutely recommend playing this on mouse and keyboard. That wraps up our video for today. We hope you've enjoyed and found this useful, and there's some games in here that maybe you will look forward to or you might even want to pick up. Please do let us know in the comments below what you've taken from this and if there are any games that stood out that you thought you enjoyed, and we will see you on the next one.